Good evening, everyone. Ellen Sutter with ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Today, I'm excited. I'm going to talk to Andrew Johnson, and he is from the 313. Got to say it slow because I can't roll it off that fast like he does. The 313 Men, Money, and Marriage. And we're going to be talking to him in a moment. Hopefully, you guys are doing well and that you are having a fabulous, I don't know, today I thought was Friday, but a fabulous Thursday. And again, I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. It is an exciting day today for me. I am married, and so is Andrew. And we get to talk about marriage. Some people, I don't know why married people don't talk about marriage. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But I am excited about this, and I am going to invite him in. But stay tuned because we do have also our update will tell you what's coming up. We do have guests, quite a few guests this month, and I am excited about it. Don't want to overload it to you guys, but you are in for a treat. And I am looking forward to this conversation, and it is needed to be had. I've been on this show before too, and I enjoy being on Andrew's show, and he has quite a few things going on. We're gonna see who he is, what he does, and why he do what he does. And I am looking forward to that. Do share, swipe and share. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And I'm just gonna kind of share this out to some people. Let's see. And I am looking forward to that, to this conversation. Okay. Uh, let's see, still sharing it out, guys. And we're going to go from here, sharing it out. Let's see if I can do it one more time to others. Um, Again, I am excited about this conversation, and you'll be in here in a moment. Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Make sure I got this where it needs to be. And I'm excited, guys. I've been on, like I say, a couple of his shows. We even talked about Tyler Perry's movie, Divorce in the Black. We had a conversation there, and it's on YouTube. And we did a part 1 and 2 there. If you guys want to look at that, and let me see. I'm sorry, you guys. Hopefully you can hear me as well. And we do have shows coming up, as I said. So coming up, while he's until I see him there, coming up on the 14th, we'll have. I'm not going to try to hold it to memory, but we will have on the 14th, and that will be um, Kimberly Beasley. Hello, thank you for being here. Say hello to you, and it will be hello to you. My first time seeing you. I hope you can hear me. If you can hear me, please give me a thumb up if you could hear me. I'm hoping that you can. Give me a thumbs up. Also, as I say, Kimberly Beasley, she's going to come on. And thank you for joining, Florence. Let me know, Florence, if you can hear me. You can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Thank you guys for coming in. Let's see. I did not. I'm sorry, guys. I did not put his name here, but I will put it down there. So I see at 100% going up. Does that mean, okay, thumbs up. Okay, I see the thumbs up. I see the 100%. Awesome, awesome sauce. And I'll label this later. I forgot to put his name up top. Please forgive me, Andrew. And he should come in. He'll be in the screen in a moment. But on the 14th of January, we're going to have Kimberly Beasley. And she is the author of, it's a children's book. Now, guys, it's a children's book, the author of Searching for Me. And this book is a journey through colorism and also mixed race. So you're going to hear about her story as she, hello to you. Thank you for coming. You're going to hear about Kimberly's story as she was a child. She knew that she was a Black woman, but her skin does not tell her that. So we're going to talk about it. It's a children's book, and I'm so glad that she put her book where those who are biracial or mixed lineage, I don't know what they call it today, but I've known it to be biracial, that some of them don't understand, okay, I'm Black, but I don't look Black. And so we're going to have a 3-day talk with her. This is our 3-day package that we have. It's $250. And so this is a 3-day, scheduled 3-day. So on the 14th, we'll have the 14th, 17th, and the 24th, all at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We deep dive into her book. Yes, it's an amazing children's book. And you're like, but it is very thought-provoking. OMG. So you guys get ready for that. Let me see if Andrew is there. I don't want to leave him out. Send this to him. Let's see if I can do this. Hopefully he is there in the feed. Okay, I see his light lit up. So maybe he is here. And we'll be talking about her book. I cannot wait to discuss her book. I see that you are there. Come on in the room, Andrew, of the 313 Men, Money, Marriage. Cannot wait. Come on in the room. I feel like I'm outside of the room. Hold on. I'm going to do that, y'all. Please forgive me. Now I feel like I'm in the room. Okay, I see you on the screen now. Come on in. And he will be coming in just a few. Hopefully you can hear me when you come in, Andrew. I'm just going to wait, see what happens. So we got a lineup for you guys here. Angela, I am glad you are here. We are still doing the Scout Out shout out. I'm sorry, I don't know what just happened, but I'm going to invite you back in. Looked like you were coming on screen.
Hello?
There you go. Hey, can you hear me or see me?
I can't see you.
Oh no, your
Can
camera
you
must
hear
be.
me?
I can hear you. Your camera must be used somewhere else as well.
Let me see. Hold on. No, it's hold on.
And while he's doing that, guys, thank you for being here. Guys, do share, swipe, and share. This is a great conversation that need to be had,
Yeah,
and I
I
cannot
just can't
wait.
see you, but I can hear you.
Okay,
Let
I
me
can
see.
see you. I can see you well. You probably see it more at the end. If you want to go ahead and go, I can see you loud and clear with your headset on and on.
Okay. Can everybody? I just want to make sure your audience can see
Okay,
me.
give me a thumbs up, guys, some hearts or some 100% if you can see him as well as I can. Any hearts? Florence, you there? Let's see. Come back in. There you go. Right there. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get the ceiling fan out the picture. That's all.
Oh, I didn't see it at all.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
So thumbs up if you guys can see him. Let's see it at the second thumbs up. Give me some hearts, guys. But I can see you.
Okay. As long as you can see me and that everybody can see you when it's recorded, that's good.
Okay, awesome. So thank you for coming out today. We talked about this. Seemed like last year of coming on and being up here, you were doing a lot of things, a lot of platforms that you had, but you kind of rarely be here. And you talked about this would be a great place for you to just navigate from here in certain places. So I really like that. So Andrew, I brought you here. We always talked on Noon Vibe, formerly Wisdom. And we're finally seeing each other's face. We just heard each other's voice. And I know that I do enjoy going on your show. And this will be the first time I could say that you've full-fledged been here, because we do a little snippets in the audience. Wendy, thank you for being here. So without further ado, let's just go in, tell the folks who you are and why do you hone in on men, money, and marriage?
Well, that's a good question, Ellen. And I first want to say thank you. I was running a few minutes behind, but I made sure I was running up the stairs to try to get up here and I made it. So sorry for the delay. But and also, Ellen, I want to say this. I want to say this also. Ellen, one of the episodes that you came on, I have over 153 episodes on the podcast. And one of the episodes you came on, was entitled, Where Are All the Good Men? A Woman's Perspective. And
wow.
that's the one that you came on. And that is the 5th most listened to episode on the podcast. So thank you. So that should tell you something. You're good. You're good. You know what you're doing. But
thank you.
Yes. What I will say is that I started doing this initially. The podcast was I was trying to come up with a subject matter to sort of leave a blueprint for my younger children, because I have 2 younger children, and you never know how much time you have left on the planet. So I wanted to record something that, on a digital format, it's pretty much out there forever. So I wanted to record something that, they'll still be able to hear my voice, if I'm gone or passed away, and they could utilize it in some way, shape, or form to how to become sort of a better man, or know what to do in certain situations. So I knew I wanted to talk about the men's side of things, and I had a background somewhat dealing with, personal finance and things like that. So I wanted to incorporate that in the podcast, because a lot of the things that, when it comes to men, money, and marriage, all those things are sort of intertwined, even though, we won't think they are, because they're all their own separate subjects. But when we start talking about relationships, marriage, money is like right around the corner. Mm-hmm. So that, one of the leading causes of divorce is money. So I figured we need to talk about all 3 of these things in order to really get a good show, to get a really good show that could, reach people on all all levels, whether you're older, whether you're younger, just starting out. That was my initial goal. Now, since then, the podcast has somewhat taken a turn. We still talk about those issues, but everyone kept wanting to know, because my background was I worked in institutional settings for almost 27 years. And I was primarily, in that capacity, I was a substance abuse counselor. So some of the things I was coming across while I was doing groups and things like that I had to do pertaining to my job description, I started noticing certain patterns pertaining to the clients and the relationships that they were having, and they were all very similar. And what happened was I started to see that some of the problems that they were having were exactly the same problems I was hearing everyone else have here out as I'm gonna take Ellen's term or Ellen's word, the dating streets. So I was like, there's got to be something here because it's like they're all saying the same thing.
Yes.
And as the further and further I dug in, I started to realize that, yeah, there is definitely something here that we need to address pertaining to relationships, dating, men, money, and marriage. And it was really, it was eye-opening for me because even though I was seeing it on the inside, as they say, it was actually happening on the outside right in front of me. But I never really paid much attention to it because I wasn't out there dating like I was, say 20 years ago. So a lot has changed since I was doing it.
That is so true. And I wanted to start up like when we talked on Noon Vibe now. You talked about, I want to say it's 4 components, but is it 4 components, when you talked about the man?
Oh, of manhood. Yeah, it's what I said, the 4 pillars.
The 4 pillars
of manhood.
I think we need to hear that before
Sure. I was just saying that it's, maturity, strength, consistency, and I'm it's slipping my mind on the 4th one. It'll come to me at some point. But what I was basically saying was that if women have men, if they come in contact with men who share those 4 pillars, that was the very first episode I ever recorded. If they share those 4 pillars, that's almost like hitting a home run, So it's like women always say, I want the man to do this, that, and the other, have this, that, and the other. But if he's displaying those 4 things, the rest of it is sort of a cakewalk for a woman. They don't have to really worry too much if they have a man in their life that displays those 4 things. The problem is, Ellen, especially nowadays with modern dating, is women aren't attracted to that anymore. They're attracted to other things. So that's where there's a little bit of a disconnect, if there is one.
That is so true. I can't wait till it come back to you. But anyway, like you said, that was your first episode. Let's talk about men, since that's the first component on there is the men. And what are men saying about dating? And here's the things that I thought about. And like you said, most of the things are going to be from a male perspective when you're talking. So in this one, with my female perspective, what are men saying about dating? I'm talking about grown men, and I know you and I are married. I've been married for almost 33 years. It's coming up this year, 33 years. And I think you're, how many years for you?
16.
16 for you. And so what are they saying about dating? Are they dating for commitment? Dating for sporting, like a fish, catch them, throw them back out into the water? Or are they dating for commitment toward marriage? What are men, not boys, men saying?
I think, Ellen, deep down, if you ask men publicly, they'll say no to marriage. They're just dating to sort of have fun. Even older men are talking like that. But if you were to interview them separately and you said this interview is anonymous, what would you want? They would say they are dating for marriage. They want, most men, and I'm not going to say all men, most men reach a point in their life where they want to settle down. It depends. Now, everyone's age is different. So some men find that in their 20s. Some men, it takes them to their 30s. Some men, they might not do it until their 40s or 50s. But at some point, a man does get to a point where there's a time period where he wants to settle down. The question is getting that timing right. If you're the woman, trying to get that timing when that particular person is quote unquote ready. And so just because you meet somebody and that person is a very, you might like that person. And because I hear women say this all the time, they'll say, I met so-and-so, we were dating, everything was going good, but then we kind of, drifted apart and we broke up. And then the next woman he got with, he married her. And why didn't he marry me? Kind of thing. And so that's where the catch is. That's where it gets a little tricky. So it's sometimes, and it's hard to explain to both men and women, the person that you might be really into isn't into you the way you are into them. And so, a man is like, when it comes to dating, let's say he's got a woman, let's say she's an attractive woman. And let's just say he's attracted to her. But after he's been with her for, say, about a few months, he knows that she's not the one. But that don't mean he still don't want to play with her.
Exactly.
He's going to play with her as long as he can until she finally says stop. Because to him, at that point, he's not interested in a long-term, what they call a LTR, a long-term relationship or a marriage. He might not be interested in that, but he does love being around you, enjoy your company. He might, the intimacy, all of that stuff. He likes that, but he might not realize that you're not, quote unquote, married material, or at least to him. Now, that doesn't mean that the woman isn't married material. It means just to him, she's not married material. She's not what he's looking for in a woman or a marriage. And sometimes that happens. So everyone is different. It's not a one size fits all. It's not monolithic in any way, shape, or form. It's certain men like certain things. And so one man, he might find something very attractive about a woman. Another man is not. He might find something totally different. He might say, oh, I don't like that. I like this. So you'll get a lot of those types of situations that pop up. But currently, right now, honestly, to answer your question, as best I can, there is right now, men are not taking relationships very seriously at this point, especially the younger men. When I say 35 and under, they're not looking at it, as a very serious, committed thing. Ellen, one of the things that's really funny is that I just recorded an episode that just was released yesterday called Finding Mr. Right. And my guest was a licensed professional counselor who came on. She's been on the show multiple times. She said it's about, she compared chemistry and compatibility. She was saying a lot of times we're looking for the chemistry, the quote unquote, the vibe or the attraction thing there. But she says sometimes it's more about the compatibility than it is the chemistry. So it's about, do me and this person work for long-term relationships? Because there's been women, that I've dated in the past. We had great chemistry. I mean, those relationships lasted as long as they were supposed to. Sometimes it was just a few weeks. But that's all it was meant to be. It wasn't, the chemistry was there. There was no, but long-term compatibility, no. And so if on the woman's side of things, she's really serious about wanting to get married, she has to look at compatibility versus the chemistry.
And I want to hold on to that because I believe that we as women look at marriage different from you guys do.
I agree with that.
Guys, and we'll hold back to that when we get in that marriage section. And in something you said, I want to go back with the men part. And my daughter and I, we talk about this, that the man, even if he don't like you, he's going to still have sex. He's still going to be there and stuff like that. And he knows that he don't like you. And that's the thing where we're trying to figure out I'm not saying you have the answer. I'm not saying that it's in your wheelhouse, and it could be. Why stay? And girls probably do it. We do it in a different way. And I can't speak for all women. I'll just say from me as a woman, you'll see a guy, you might like him, just enough to be with him. And then when you find out that he does have interest and he's gone, now you want him. He was in the friend zone.
Yes.
But you want to wait for someone make a sandwich, and you see the sandwich that you had that you just wanted to play with, and now it's real, and now you hurt, and now you're mad.
Yes.
You didn't want it anyway. But like you say, in comparison to the male aspect, I don't know if it matters if someone else like her, but as long as he have her and he don't like her, he'll still play with her, like you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing. See, one thing, men. The reason why men stick around. They're generally waiting for someone else to show up. But I mean, honestly speaking, but you know what, Ellen, men like sex. So if it's a sexual relationship, the man's going to stay around as long as he can get some. I mean, it's not like he's not doing it. He'll be kind to you. He'll be nice to you. He might even still buy you things and things like that. But that's the nature of a man. It's like, honestly, it's like a child playing with a toy. And then when he gets bored, he wants to go play with something else. That's only if he's not emotionally connected to the woman.
Mm-hmm.
If he's emotionally connected to the woman, then no, he is not. He's fully involved. He's fully into it. But he's not. If there's no, that's the chemistry part of it. Is the playing part, the fun part. The compatibility. When a man sees that he can be compatible with a woman and gets connected to her emotionally, then he's going to stick around. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be there. Women have a really hard time. They don't know. They sometimes, and I'm speaking in generalities. So please, women, as Ellen says, don't throw the tomatoes at me. What happens is the women have a very difficult time understanding the difference between sexual attention and relationship attention. And that's where they struggle at. They don't know. Sometimes that line is very blurry for women. They have to know which one is sincere, which one is the real, which one is legitimate, which one's not legitimate. And so they have a hard time. That's why you'll hear women say, yeah, I dated so-and-so for a few months. And, they'll talk like that. That just means that was just a sexual relationship. They were not a couple, but they'll talk like the woman will talk like it was a really big deal, but it really wasn't. It wasn't for him. So that's where it gets a little confusing. And so, women have to be, if they're really serious about being in a committed relationship with a man, they really should look for compatibility over the chemistry first. If they want marriage or long-term relationship, they want to just go out there and fool around and have their hot girl summers and all those types of things, then chemistry is what you look for, But if you're talking, you want to settle down and be married with somebody, then it's more about compatibility. Because at the end of the day, you got to get along with the person that you're going to be with. If not, it's going to be, the marriage is going to be short term.
Now I'm going to take you into, let's go back a little bit. And as you said, my daughter, we talk about this too. And there's a question there. Let's see.
Sure.
Have you had the conversation of men deciding to settle down and get married after finding out that they have illness and now want that woman to be their so-called caregiver?
Yes, I have seen that happen before. I've seen it in some very extreme cases where I've seen that happen before, where it was literally, almost like a life and death type situation. That is, nobody should do that. But, a man might do that because he's looking for someone to take care of him as he's ailing and is sick and all of that stuff. And I say to I would say to a man who was out there trying to do something like that, I say, well, you had opportunities maybe to be married in your past, and maybe you should have done that. And then you won't be out here fishing at the end of the day, when it's too late. So you should have done that a long time ago. And then you won't have that. Yeah.
I want to go back. There's another question on here, and I hear what she's saying. She says sometimes relationships have seasons, and I'm a different kind of old-fashioned girl. I don't know about the term relationship have seasons, and so maybe you know a little further than that. To me, if you're in a relationship, you should be going through all 4 seasons. It's still in that relationship, and not saying that it's wintertime, I'm gone. I'm not saying you're saying this way. You could talk a little bit further. MS Daybreak, Miss Daybreak, you can talk about it a little bit further. And so I think, and maybe because I'm old school, all those seasons should be, if you're in that committed relationship, all those seasons should be going there, not a season of now I'm with you and now our season is over. Your season should have been over when you first started, that you couldn't go through the winter, summer, or fall. That's just me.
They say, Ellen, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this phrase before. They're saying sometimes is that people get married for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So you ever heard that expression before? They say that? Well, a reason is what you stated before. The man might be older and he gets sick. I've seen dudes who are on drugs, trying to get cleaned up. They get with a woman to help them get back on their feet. And so they'll marry that woman, to help them get back on their feet. Those are reasons that people, that's a reason why someone will get married. Or a woman might be struggling financially. Let's say a woman has 2 kids on her own. She's single. She meets a guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of money. He's really not her quote unquote type, but she'll get with that man and marry that man because he has some resources. May not be all of the resources that she wants, but he has
Come on
some.
now.
And so they'll get in that Toyota Corolla and ride off into the sunset and be happy. And sometimes those marriages last, they could last for a while. But for those are reasons. The seasonal marriages is that the summer flings, the different things like that, they're short term, but you fell in love over a summer and then you get married. And then once you get married, you realize that you don't have anything in common. And so those relationships tend to end really quickly because it was just a thing that happened really over like a short period of time. And then there's the lifetime. You meet somebody, you marry them, and you want to get married to that person for a lifetime. That's ultimately, when you have those situations, you're in it for the long haul. Both people are committed and they want to make it work. So, you have that reason, season, and lifetime, but it's absolutely true. And I just say this one other thing pertaining to women and their choices when it comes to marriage. And you really have three options as a woman when it comes to marriage. You can get half the man that you want, you can get all of the man that you need, or you can get nobody. But those are your choices.
Look, I forgot to tell y'all that Andrew, he has no chaser. I forgot to tell y'all.
No, Ellen, you know what? I came to that conclusion. I'm going to share something with you. I would do an exercise when I would counsel women. And, my group size would be about 12 or 13 women. I would do an exercise and I would tell them to write down 5 things they want from that in a husband. So write down the 5 things that you want in a husband. And so they would all write them down on a piece of paper. I was like, great. And I say, cross off 2 of them. And they would reluctantly do it, and they would start thinking, they, you see the brains working and trying to figure out what the 2 are they going to cross out. And so I said, after I get done, I said, did you cross out the 2? Is everyone cross out the 2? They say, yeah. I said, that's your husband. Right there, because nobody gets 100. I said, that's your husband right there. So if you get 60% of what you want, you did damn good. And a lot of women, they don't believe that. Some of them, they think they should get 100, and if they don't get 100, maybe they'll settle for 80. But no, you're going to get about 60% on a good day. That's just the way it is, because nobody gets everything that they want.
Come on now. I'm going to read some
They
more
just
on the
don't.
board. I'm going to reset, and then I'm going to read some more on the board, and then we're going to go into our money section.
Okay.
But thank you guys for the heart. I'm resetting. Ellen Sutter of ESP presents an ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Our guest tonight is Andrew Johnson, and he is the author of The 313 Men, Money, and Marriage. Did I win? Did I win? Because I know I always kind of, but thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sharing and swiping. And I see quite a few things here before we go into that other section. And I am Stacy. Thank you for being here. She is the one that friended you. So she is there. She said, hello.
Hello, Stacy.
She says, I'm late, or when they get out of jail. She's talking about those relationships we were talking earlier. When they get out of jail, that's some of the things, they're ready to get married and be there for you. Now, Miss Daybreak, she said she talked about the arguments. I think that she was saying along with summers. And that's why I was saying, for me, maybe I'm just an old-fashioned girl. Excuse me, y'all. Maybe I'm just an old-fashioned girl. But I think that you should go through all weathers. If that's the person you committed to, all those weather would be there. And I will talk about that at the end of when we get to the marriage section. Because people's idea of marriage, those who are married need to be honest about what marriage is. Okay, you and I are married and we know. And so that's the thing right there. Let's get into money.
Sure.
These are one of the things that leads to divorce. But I wanted to talk about money in this way. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. I want to talk about money in this way. When they are dating, and I know that we have not been in that dating streets this time of day and don't want to be in those dating streets. I'm just going to say that. So men, are they the way they handle money, as you know of statistically, you the numbers guy, or even in the dating pool, whether they're married or dating toward marriage, since we're homing in on that. So if you go into the dating part and they're meeting and they have their money and they are investing their money into the dating pool. Now, with the woman, you can verify this. She doesn't have to have much, but now we as women in this dating world now about six figures and all that, and then you could tell us like what you were saying about the six figure thing, meaning that is there anyone
Sure.
really out there for that? But
Right.
how are they investing their money now? Because you guys, when I say you guys, you know how to talk about you personally, is they'll
Hmm.
invest in one woman and they'll have so many women and then they, have, spending all these things and then they're upset with this. And then we got
Sure.
some outrageous things that women are saying, if you want to date me, go date, pay for my baby kid sitter, just a lot, whole
Sure.
bunch of stuff.
Oh, oh,
So
yeah. It's a
let's get
separate
into
show in and
this.
of itself.
I know, let's get into this.
Yeah. What it is, Ellen, is I'm gonna share something with your audience here. Basically, y'all ready for this? A majority of Americans, men and women, are broke. Okay, 55% of our country lives check to check. So, what is happening in the dating pool is women are chasing after those top tier men. And when I say top tier men, it's about anywhere between 15 and 20% of men who make the quote unquote six figures. So it doesn't matter if the woman is educated and got money herself. It doesn't matter if she is just a very beautiful woman and she doesn't have a lot of resources. It doesn't matter if she's a baby mama with 3 baby daddies. They're all trying to get that guy because they are seeing out here in the dating pool that themselves included, because a lot of people on the internet are faking it, but themselves included, they don't have any money. So
Mm-hmm.
they're all chasing after the people who do have the money. Now, here's the problem with that. Of the six-figure men that are making that kind of money, almost half of them are already married. So
Right.
that's knocking you down into the high single digits of available men in that income category. Then when you throw in the gay men, it drops down even a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start getting involved in age, and then some women will be like, I'm 27, 30. I'm not marrying no 50-year-old man. Well, that's the one who has that kind of salary, because men's financial prime years are roughly, they don't start until a man turns about 45 years old. And they generally go to about 60. That's when he's going to make the most money, generally speaking, in his lifetime. So if you're into the money, you better get ready to be dating a man that's say 10, 15, maybe even 20 years older than you. Because I shared this story before. When I hear women talk about, on first dates, they need to get a fancy restaurant, whether it's a 5-star restaurant or something. It could be a Ruth Chris Steakhouse or any of these things that they throw these things out there. The first my first date, when me and my wife were dating, we went to Outback Steakhouse. That was our first date. Okay, that was number one. Number two, the next thing was when we got married, I wasn't making anywhere near six figures, and in matter of fact, we were sort of struggling because she wasn't working because we had a newborn, and we were living off of just my salary, and it was rough for those first year or two. But we slowly got, she started to work. I started to get some raises here and there, and we started every year got better. But that's called building,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what you should be doing. Instead of trying to chase the man that's already at the finish line, get you somebody who's working, who's hardworking, and is striving to do better. He may not reach all of his financial goals, but he's striving to do better, and he's eventually will get there, with the right support. But don't go into a marriage thinking that you're going to get the man making all of that money, because there's not that many of them out there. Then when you throw in other variables that women look for, such as height, women want 6 feet and above, and I always make the comparison with my younger brother was 6'3" and I was 5'10". Now, looking at the two of us, when we were younger, obviously he would be a more attractive looking catch. But there's other variables that I had that he didn't have. We always would tease each other. And he'd say, you're only 5'10", this, that, and the other. And I said, well, if I wasn't bow-legged, I'd be 6 feet tall. And we would go back and forth. We'd do stuff like that. But the point was, we would say things like that. But it's true. Like the women really are very much attracted to height.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start, so if you add height into the mix with money, then you're probably looking at maybe just 1% of the population. So it gets really, and what's interesting, Ellen, is a lot of times women aren't really looking at those numbers. They just know what they want, and they might try and go get it. But the more and more they're out here looking, they might realize that it's just really not that available. Money is a very tricky subject matter, just because most people are not being honest or sincere about how much they have. They're not letting you know if they have outstanding debts. And people find these things out a lot of times after they're in a committed relationship and their emotions are attached to each other. And then they're trying to figure out, what do we do next to get out of these holes that we kind of put ourselves into. And so I think one of the most important things when it comes to money, if both people are emotionally connected and are compatible and they are considering marriage, not only should you have some premarital counseling, but you should also have some pre-financial counseling as well. That should be a part of it, because literally finances is usually in any type of divorce statistics you see, finances and money are usually either number one or number two as the number one reason, or the biggest reason why people get divorced. So those conversations have to happen in order for it to be, a successful marriage.
I love that. And I did not know that our time was flying like this.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go ahead on and we're going to go to the money part. Let me see if there's anything else on here. Anybody saying anything? A great job, AJ.
Oh, I see someone. Yeah, I see someone saying about losing.
What can I get? What can't I get? Is she saying, why can't I get a 95-year-old?
Yeah.
Stop it, Stacy. Stop it. Oh, dear. He is so honest. She said, you're so honest about that. That is so true.
Yeah.
So
yeah, thank you.
We're going to have to bring you back again. This went so quick. But we're going to talk about the marriage part. We're going to talk about the marriage part. And one of the things, like I say, we're both married. I've been married for almost 33 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In April 4th, 92. And we met in 88. So 37 years together and as a whole. Marriage, I think that married people are not talking about marriage. I think that's single. For example, when we get married, we want to do 50-50. I don't know who came up with that, but I think single people came up with that. There is no 50-50 in marriage. Sometimes you're doing 90, sometimes you're doing there. Let's talk about that.
That's
the idea.
That's absolutely 50. True. A lot of women sometimes look for, they hear the word provision and they think that's financial, and it isn't financial all the time. There's going to be instances as a woman, you might be doing 90% at some point. I can't read, somebody says something about what if someone loses their job. And that's true. I mean, because that happens. That happened in my marriage, and we were fortunate enough to, get it resolved relatively quickly. But yes, people can lose their jobs. And when they lose their jobs, then what do? Are you prepared, or do you have a plan for that? So yeah, the marriage part, that is, it's on paper, sometimes we might say it's 50-50, but it's really not, because there's going to be times where you're going to be doing all the work and the other person's going to be doing a little bit, and then there's going to be times where you're going to be doing, you're going to be doing a lot, and then they're going to be doing a little, and vice versa. I remember one time I had to have knee surgery, and I was on crutches for 6 weeks. And I could not, I was very dependent on my spouse. There was a lot of things I could not do while I was on the crutches. I was literally, I mean, so she had to do just about everything, you know. So I mean, and it was bad for her, but it was, you know, for 6 weeks. I've seen, you know, couples get in car accidents where one of them has to go through rehab and it takes months and months and months. And now one of the other spouses is doing everything around the house. And so, yeah, I mean, that's what you're signing up for. And a lot of people don't think that marriage is not the day where you get all the attention, where you walk down the aisle and everyone's taking your picture and all of that stuff. And Ellen, I had discussed this with you. Remember I said to you before, I was like, we should have to be married for a year before we actually have our wedding.
You did.
And I said that, yes, and I said that because I think if people really, they need to get the feel for what it is, because some people are getting married for that day. They want that queen treatment for that day.
Yeah.
And you know, the man, to an extent, the man too. But you have to understand that that's not marriage.
No.
That is a wedding.
Yeah.
And you can't get married just because of a wedding. You have to be really committed, because when they say for better or worse, there's going to be some times when it's going to be worse. And when I say, and I'm not just talking about the obvious things that you think of, there's going to be things that pop up and you're not prepared to deal with them or handle them, and it's going to catch you off guard, and it's not easy. But the good news is, if you do have a spouse and they're willing to ride with you through those tough times, we always say, you know, this too shall pass. Yes. And it will pass. Yes. And sometimes when you reflect back on it and you look back and you sit there and you go, you remember when all that stuff happened, how we were reacting and everything like that? Now we look back at it and we laugh, you know. And so those examples is what I would basically say. Marriage is not, it's a lot of ups and downs sometimes. There's going to be times when you're going to be so angry and upset at each other that you don't even want to look at the person. But then there's going to be instances where you're perfectly okay and everything, and you can't keep your hands off of each other.
Right.
That's how marriage works. It's a long-term, lifetime commitment that you're signing up for. And if you're a woman, don't waste a man's time, and vice versa with a man. Don't jump into a marriage with a woman if you know you do not have good intentions. So don't waste each other's times, because it's everyone's time is precious, but as a woman, your time is more precious. Women, you cannot get this thing wrong. You have to get it right, because you don't want to keep going in and out of marriage, out and out of marriage, and out of marriage with different people, because it makes it to the point where, you know, it gets, trying to reconnect with somebody is very difficult. Ellen, when I first had you on and we were talking about dating after a divorce, you said something that stuck with me to this day. And you said, you know, when you get a divorce, something has died. And it's true. And it's true, because two people become one in a marriage. When you get a divorce, now you're turning back into two. So that one entity is now dead.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so complex sometimes we get in relationships. So that's the scary part of it. But the big thing is commitment. If you're committed to stay there to the death do us part, and you really believe in that, you're going to be all right. If not, you'll weather those rough storms. You know, but if not, if you're not equipped mentally and you're not prepared, and if you don't have self-awareness, marriage is not for you. It's not for you.
It's not. And so even in, like I say, with me being married as long as I have, some days you're not going to like each other, but you'll love each other. And when we talk, remember we were talking about, we're going to bring the arguments over into the marriage.
Yes.
We didn't coin this, but we call it intense fellowship. And I think with those arguments, when you get in an argument, all it is that the communication, someone has not been heard.
Yeah.
Someone has not been heard. That's why. So when you get in an argument, it doesn't mean to go outside, to go have sex, to bring something else into your marriage, whether female or male. You sit your tail down in your room. You go upstairs, you go downstairs. You might not talk to each other for a few days. You might say, hey, is we eating today? Are you cooking any folk? Are we talking? Are we talking now?
Exactly.
Are you talking to me? Because with us women, we want things resolved. So just because you ask me, maybe you ask for sex, maybe you ask for food, nothing has been resolved to my feelings.
Mm.
So that has to be taken care of. That has to be taken care of. You got to sit down. You got to talk about it. Don't mean that it's not going to be there still.
Yeah. Well,
You
you know,
might get
Ellen,
your
it's
plate.
tricky.
You might get your plate, but it might be slid to you.
Oh
That
yeah.
don't mean y'all don't like it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, it's that's true. That's absolutely true. You know, it's there's debates and there's arguments. With a debate, you know, you're not trying to win. You know, you're trying to solve a problem. You're trying to
Exactly.
come to an agreement. With an argument, you're trying to win.
Yeah.
And so there's no winners. No one in a marriage, no one wins in an argument.
That's
Because
right.
remember, two people are now becoming one.
Exactly.
So no one's winning in an argument. So there's no reason to argue,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because there's no winning. So the big thing to remember is the best thing to remember is when you're in a marriage, keep it at the debate level. Try not to raise your voice. Try not to yell and scream. Try not to get to those
Mm-hmm.
points, because that turns into an argument.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you said, people, when they argue, want to be heard. You make
Right.
the most noise because you want to say, look at me. You playing victim.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why whenever you're meeting someone, dealing with someone, you start off with if they're coming at you hard, you come out with them soft, because you want to lower their tone. You want to get them
Mm-hmm.
to calm down a little bit. And so you don't have to do all of that yelling. You tell them, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, you know, and we just have to agree or disagree or whatever. But at the end of the day, the best thing to do is to not argue, just debate.
Mm-hmm.
Because the arguments, you know, when we were talking about money earlier, you know, they say when a married couple argues twice a week about money, there's a 50% chance they're going to get divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's high, right? So the same thing is, if you're constantly arguing in your marriage, your chances of getting divorced go way up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to look at too, like you say, in this marriage, and when you're together, we talked about this before. The nowadays people that want to get married, I want to know man's idea when they get married. But as a woman, and I cannot speak for all, but I
Mm-hmm.
see some of the marriage streets of today. It's not to make you happy.
Yeah,
If you
that's a
get
good
in
point.
marriage, you're going to be happy, but it's not to make you happy.
Yeah.
As Will Smith said, I cannot make you happy.
No.
You have to
Your
have that
happiness.
already.
I tell people this all the time. It's so funny you even bring that up. I tell people this all the time. If you meet me, let's just say I'm out here single and I'm dating, you better be happy when you met me. Because if you're relying on happiness in a marriage from me, you're going to be very disappointed. Because I tell people, it's not about, like, you need to be
You
happy already.
need to come. You need
Yes,
to be.
you need to be
You
that,
need to
because
be.
I'm going to feel good
Yeah.
regardless, whether I'm feeling good about myself. So I'm
Come
expecting,
on
I
now.
guess, for you to feel the same way. Don't rely on another. Women don't rely on a man for your
Don't.
happiness. I could say that.
Don't.
Don't. And men vice versa. Don't rely on a woman for your happiness. You need to come into the relationship happy. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not in a happy place, don't even get into a
Don't
relationship.
do it.
But you need to come into the marriage happy.
We talked about Build a Bear. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
man, they say that a man might be ready to be married, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've noticed, we talked about this before, where a woman has been scorned. She's not ready to get married. He is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know that you men get more chances of being married. If you walked out in the street today, men,
Mm-hmm.
period, want to get married,
Mm-hmm.
he could be married.
Yes.
Us,
Yes.
we cannot just be married. Like you could just be married. You know what I'm saying? I want to
Mm-hmm.
get married today, and you could find someone to marry.
Mm-hmm.
For us,
Mm-hmm.
we don't get those chances like that.
Yeah.
We don't. We could, but we don't get as many chances as you men do. Like, you could have a problem, treated somebody wrong, and still get married. To
Yes.
be a bad guy,
Yes.
have 6 baby mamas, 17,
Yes.
20, 25, and
Yes.
still get married.
Mm-hmm.
The concept don't work for us.
No, no, that's true. There's a separation with that. That's why I say women have to be very careful about who they pick. One of the things I say, and I said this before, and I said it a long time ago. I said if you would have asked me what can we do to get more women married, meaning like more of them will be married and in committed relationships and things like that. This is the answer I came up with. And some people say, well, that's silly, it's not realistic. But think about this. I said, let's just say a woman could only have, throughout the course of her lifetime, no more than 5 sexual partners.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of her entire lifetime, she can only have 5. All right? About 80 to 90% of women would be married. Do you know why?
Why?
Because they would think very carefully about who they have sex with.
That's true.
And that would change. They would, whenever they have sex, they would be thinking marriage. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be recreational. And so they would be very careful about who they select because they know that they don't have a lot of room to get it wrong. If women dated like that now, a lot of them would have what they want. Mm-hmm. But they don't do that. They date for the exterior in relationships is more important than the interior.
That's
and
true.
That's the problem.
And
Yes.
And we got to look at that. We got to look at those characters, those things. Mm-hmm. And you wonder why, a man, and he sees a woman that has absolutely marvelous confidence. She don't necessarily have to be cute. She don't necessarily have to be sexy, but her confidence is what draws him in because he doesn't have to babysit her emotions. He doesn't build the bear wife, as we talked about. But women, the man can say, no, I do not want to be married, and she will build the bear to get that marriage.
Yeah.
She will. Some kind of way. He may not want to marry me now, but when I do this, he may not want to marry me now. I'll do this. And then one another thing, and we got a few more minutes. They might think I'm mean. I'm trying to be nice. We talked about this. A man could give a girl a ring. She got the ring. And she could be engaged for 15 years. 15 years.
Yes. Sometimes a man will give a woman an engagement ring just to keep her quiet. He still wants her around. He still wants to be with her, but he doesn't want to get married. So he'll give her an engagement ring and say, we'll get married. We'll set a date some point. It just keeps dragging it on until he can't drag it on anymore. But some will do that. Absolutely. I've seen it happen.
I don't understand.
It makes no sense to me neither. But
I think like in the church world, the Christian world, I think if you're dating and maybe you guys heard this before, I think that if you're dating intentionally, you should not be with like 1 year, a year to 6 months to a year, if you're intentional.
Yeah.
Now,
you should know, and I told you this before, Ellen, a man generally knows inside of a year if he's going to get married to that woman. Men know very quickly. Yeah,
they know. I love what you said, and we're going to end on this, and we definitely need some more time. When you talked about the man knowing inside of a year what he do, there's things that he look at when they're married. I remember you was talking about, can I bring her around my friends? How would I look around her? Let's talk about those things you were saying that when it comes to a marriage for a man.
Well, what some men are looking for, they're looking for certain things. The biggest thing is, can I bring this woman around, say, first is family, and see how she interacts with family, and whether or not she's not, embarrassing or anything like that. They can bring her around. The second thing is, can I bring her around my work colleagues? So if I bring her around my work colleagues, is she presentable? She's nice? Is she decent? Is, what is just, versus if she has a big giant chest or arm sleeve tattoo on her and she's got piercings all over the place, men are going to, people are going to draw conclusions based on that. But generally speaking, that's what they're looking for, that stability. The other thing men look for is, if I'm gone, like say for instance, I have to travel somewhere, do I have to worry about the family while I'm gone? Is that woman able to hold it down while I'm gone? So I might be
Mm-hmm.
gone for 2 weeks, I might be gone for a month, whatever the case may be. Is she able to keep it together?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what men are generally looking for. I mean, those are the big things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, I love a woman who can cook. So if she can cook, that's another check mark. I'm like, yeah, that's great. So, but those are some of the things that men look for when they're in these types of, what they're looking for in long-term committed relationships or marriages. So if women are those things, and like I said, self-awareness is the biggest one, knowing who you are and knowing how to self-regulate when you get angry or upset. Those are things that men look for. And it's like sometimes men tell the women what they're looking for, and the women still sometimes do the exact opposite. I don't understand that, but it's just like they say, well, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this, and you're going to still like
Mm-hmm.
me. Men are very clear about what they're looking for, and it's up to the woman to either be that when he meets her or become that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's her challenge.
We are right at 9, and I want to ask
Okay,
you
yeah,
this. I want you to give us a takeaway, but I
sure.
also want to ask you this first. How important is it to men, for men, when it comes to respect from
Number
the woman?
one of the biggest things, I said this a multitude of times, when a woman doesn't respect a man in any type of relationship, the relationship is over.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Because when a woman doesn't respect a man, she is just wipe the relationship up. It's finished. There's no So respect is very, very important for a man.
Mm-hmm.
Respect is very, very, very important. A man's love comes with conditions, so men don't generally get unconditional love, but what they do want is unconditional respect.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't all of a man's love comes with conditions. I don't People don't love me unconditionally. It's more based on a condition. What is he doing? What is he providing? Is he a decent person? Do I have to worry about these things? It's conditions. Women and children and dogs get unconditional love, but men don't. And so that's why when a man is looking to get married, he's being very careful and cautious because he knows that going into a marriage, he knows he's going to sacrifice, and he's giving up everything. And so that's why it's a little bit difficult for him. He knows that's that unconditional love factor is gone, and everyone is looking at him to fix and solve their problems, from the children to the wives and whoever else is attached to that family. So that's just how it goes.
Give us a takeaway, man, marriage, men, money, and marriage
And we're
takeaway.
gonna get you to say it right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
men,
it's the
money.
313 Men, Money, and Marriage podcast.
Yes.
Yes.
But I wanted to just
Uh,
say, give us a takeaway on those aspects of men, money, and marriage.
well,
And I know
the takeaway is just draw a triangle, and at each corner of the triangle, you can put either one. And if you notice, the triangle is intertwined, so they all connect together. So my take on it is, if you're looking for marriage, if you're a woman, you're looking for marriage, you obviously got to focus on the man and what it is that he wants and what it is that he's looking for. Men, vice versa, we have to be men when we want to get married, and we have to make sure our finances are intact and correct. And the premise of the podcast, more or less, is to teach men how to become a man, or some of the things they need to do as far as being a man, teach them how to get their personal finances and their financial life in order, and what to expect in a marriage. So it's like they're all connected. It's a triangle effect. So knowing that those three things are connected, the best thing to do is work on all three, especially if it's something that you want to do long term in the future pertaining to getting married.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave a secret with you and with you
Okay.
guys, if you guys are listening. Uh, when it comes to dating, and you can help me out because
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the factor. When it comes to dating, the man is always going after to make sure he hunts the lady, make sure things are going good. And when she is married, she is the one that tenders the marriage. It's reversed.
Hmm.
It's reversed because he's going after her to bring her in. Once he's in, she has to follow that, meaning that
Yes.
she is always wondering, okay, my dinner, this and that, making sure that that man is taken care of every day. It goes
Yes.
all
She's got to keep them.
around.
She's got to
She's
keep them.
gonna keep them. She's got to keep them.
Feed him. Keep giving him food. He'll stay around.
Mm-hmm. And
You know, men love a woman that can cook. So if you feeding him, he might act a fool for a minute, but he'll come right back home.
he'll come right on back.
That's
So
right.
we're gonna have to talk about this again. Again,
Absolutely. Anytime, Ellen.
thank you so much. You was a little digital, but you were still there.
Okay.
Okay. I heard
Okay.
you well. Some little breakup, but that's okay.
Okay.
And so today, guys, definitely he's going to return the 313 Men, Money, and Marriage. And so he'll be back again. There's a lot of deep stuff. And you can come back with those components because those were very good. And I know you talked about leadership. I know you talked about
Sure.
all the
Absolutely.
things.
Well, we can do a more of a micro portion next time where we can talk about a
Sure.
specific topic within those three, and then we can do a, as you would
Yes.
say, a deep dive into that.
We're going to deep dive into that. This has been awesome here. And as always, guys, I don't know if you told us, though, about the things you do. That's what we want to know. The things you do as far as on your podcast. You have a lot of things. And how can someone be on your show?
Absolutely. There's several ways. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can go to the web page, and the website is usually in the podcast episode. It's it's a pod page is the website site place that I use. So just click on the link in the show notes of the podcast episode. I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, any of those platforms, and you could just click on the link for the website, and you can leave a voice recording, and you can fill out there's a guest intake form, and you can use that to communicate with me. Just leave your email address, and I will send you all the stuff that you would need to become a guest on the show.
Okay.
And
Now, what about? Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, and I was just
Go
gonna say, once you get the link, you fill it out and you send it back to me, and then we set up a date for when you can come on.
Now, what about the other way around? Because I am Stacy, she's here. If a person want you to be a guest on their show, do they go through that form as well, requesting you
So,
to be on
yeah,
the show?
if they wanna get in touch with me, you could go through the website, and like I said, there's a microphone at the bottom corner of the screen of the website. If you click on that microphone, you can leave me a voice recording with all your information and the name of your show, and leave me an email address, and then I'll get back to you that way. Or like I said, you can use the contact form that's also on the website and do it that way, and I'll contact you back.
Amazing. It has been great here. Thank you for taking the time out, and we look forward to seeing you again. You have an amazing night, and
Absolutely, Ellen.
good night to you. Thank you so much for this.
All right, absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Hit the X.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching in. Again, I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Get ready on the 14th of January. We will have Kimberly Beasley. And again, she has a children's book, and that children's book is exciting, guys. It's more than just a children's book. It talks about colorism as well as the journey of knowing self-discovery from mixed race lineage. And she's going to talk about that. It is going to be a 3-day show. It's going to be the 14th, 17th, and 24th. But we're going to be on different platforms. So on the 14th, we'll be here on Instagram. On the 17th, we'll be on Facebook. And then we'll come back on the 24th here. We are going to deep dive, and this is still happening, guys. So stay tuned for that. And also on the 16th, we'll have Doc Frederick. He is the author of 101 Things a Man Should Know, and there's more to that title. But we're going to talk about men and healing. So stay tuned for that. That will be on the 16th. So the 14th and the 16th, we'll have some going on, and then we'll bring back Kimberly on the 17th and the 24th. So mark your calendars for the 14th. We'll just start with that. And then we got things going on 14, 16, and 24. You guys have an amazing night. Thank you for being here. Again, Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chat. Again, thank you again to Andrew, the 313 Men, Money, and Marriage. Now, y'all can tell him I got it right. I don't know why I tongue tied that. Stacy, thank you for being here. Looking forward to you connecting with him. Miss Daybreak, 69, thank you for being here. Let's see who else I got. Angela Percent was on. Also, Wendy Arcea, thank you for following and being here and being in our same group. Dr. Velma, I see you there. And thank you for coming in. Let's see. Uh, Another person, I can't really see that, but at the end is a number 6. Florence, thank you for being here, and you guys have an amazing day. Maybe it's Cliche the Poet 6. Hopefully I said that right. Have an amazing day, guys. Thank you. Whether you stayed on a little bit, swiped and share, going to do replay, I truly thank you. Stay tuned for January 14th. Again, author Kimberly Beasy. She's up next. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye. Or night. Bye-bye.